Welcome back, my beautiful friends. We're back with Kyle Wool, President of Wealth Management at Revere Securities, and we have a bonus round question, something I've always wanted to ask him. So let's chat baby boomers versus millennials. When it comes to personal finance, the wealth gap between millennials and baby boomers is fairly wide. A growing study based on the Federal Reserve data shows that the average boomer's net worth is 12 times greater than the average millennials. Now, naturally, adults ages 25 to 40, which are millennials, have less wealth than those aged 57 to 75, which are the boomers. But there are other factors at play too. A report by think tank New America found that millennials earn 20% less than boomers did at the same age. Kyle, why do you think this is?
I think we got to really look at it in the perspective of history, right? And I'll try to be brief and to the point. So if you look at baby boomers, most of them were born hence after World War II. So they have the experience of time, right? So if they invested in real estate in growing areas like New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco, that alone over time created great wealth for them, for having that long-term investment in very advantageous places to live. But at the same time, they also invested in the Dow Jones and the S&P, which have been made up of some of the greatest companies in American history: McDonald's, Coca-Cola, IBM, later years, Microsoft, Intel, Apple. When you compare that to someone like myself, who is a child of baby boomers who were born in 1947, I'm 44 years old. I was born in 1977. I've had the experience to live in the financial markets through the dot-com Boston bubble and bust, through 2008, through the recent COVID crisis. And I look at the millennials compared to myself, none of them actually lived through 2000. Most people don't realize the technology bubble was really just a NASDAQ bubble of dot-com companies. From 2000 to 2003, the NASDAQ was down 83%. In those years, only 1 year, the S&P 500 was down, and that was in 2002, it was down 10%. So
Wow.
again, that's perspective. 2008, you had a financial crisis of liquidity. The banks didn't have the money. The mortgage crisis was way over leveraged, and the markets actually shuttered. That was a very scary crisis. But people who'd been around for a while, they went out there and they bought DuPont. They went out there and they bought Caterpillar. They knew these companies were not going out of business. What I see with the millennials today, and again, to my millennial friends, I love you, not criticizing, I see going back to 1998. They're just like myself when I was coming out of college. Oh my God, technology is going to change the world. Crypto is going to change the world. NFTs are here to stay. Yes, that's all well and good, but you have to also understand perspective, right? The United States government, China, and the European Union at any time could overtax and overregulate cryptocurrency, and you could have a massive crash.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it's going to happen.
Right.
But again, knowing
Right.
history, governments don't like to give up control of currency and capital flows.
No, they definitely don't. No. And you know what? To your point, and I'm just going to wrap this up. As of the fourth quarter of 2020, the boomer generation owned just over half of total US household wealth. And according to data from the Federal Reserve, that's 64.72 trillion chunk versus 5.89 trillion for millennials born after 1980 and 33 trillion for Generation X, those born between 1965 and 1980, FYI. So what you're saying is 100% accurate. The proof is in the numbers. But listen, that was something that I wanted clarification on from a wealth manager's perspective, and you just hit the bullseye.
Well, Zed, if I could throw one thing in there, one thing I'd say to my millennial friends, it's great to have some risky investments, and the S&P may be boring, but it's good to have most of your money diversified. It'll protect you over the long term.
It'll protect you. There you go. Guys, that was Kyle Wool, President of Wealth Management at Revere Securities. Thanks for coming on, my friend. We'll be right back after this. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York.